This week's guest is Blake Fitzpatric, owner of Sunshine Movers. I'm Rob. This is the Sarasota SpeaX Pre-Show, tailored by Tweeds. What's up, everybody? I'm Rob. This is the Pre-Show, tailored by Tweeds. When you are looking to level up your style game, come on down to any of our Tweeds locations. We're right here in downtown Sarasota, also St. Pete, Tampa, and our newest locations in Naples and Orlando. This week's guest is Blake Fitzpatric. Welcome, Blake.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So, Blake, tell us a little bit, how did you get started in the moving business, and was there anything in specific that sort of inspired you to start your own company?
There's a long story, there's a short story. I'm gonna give you the short one. I used to do drywall finishing, and by fluke, I was invited out to work with a friend of a friend. They needed help. Went out there, that friend of a friend owned a small moving company. Went out there, finished the day off. At the end of the day, he said, "Hey man, I need help on this day and that day." And I said, "I like this, I'll keep doing it." Yeah. So I did it. 30 days later, I bought my first moving truck.
Cool.
So that's the beginning story, the short version.
That's awesome. So on that note, you started off, I understand, as a one-man show. You had one employee, yourself, but over time, you've kind of grown the team. Tell us a little bit about that transition to bringing on staff, and where are you at right now in terms of staff and the size of your company?
One step at a time. You know, a lot of people, they want to grow fast, and I got to tell you, you got to take your time, you got to take your baby steps, and especially if you've never done it before. If you've never owned a business, if you've never delegated, you need to take baby steps, and you need to thrive in each position of the company before you try to step out and be a CEO. And that's what I did. It's taken me 10 years to get where we are now. We have about 40 employees. We have 12 trucks, a couple other vehicles, 25,000 square foot warehouse. But that was not done overnight. That was piece by piece by piece by piece. So if anybody's listening, there's no fast way to the top. You take your time. The longer you take, the bigger your foundation is. And the bigger your foundation, the harder it is for you to fall.
That's awesome. I love it. Now, as a mover, I imagine you've come across some pretty weird, eccentric, bizarre things. Can you tell us about any of the most interesting or bizarre moves, or individual items that you've had to move for clients that are somewhat unusual?
Got a few different stories. If you want the craziest, funniest, just the wildest move story, it was actually my very first move that I did, and it was actually with the guy that I kind of started with, the other guy that owned the other moving company. His name was Mark. And so we went out to this house. We get there, 9 o'clock in the morning, it was in Parrish, ladies drinking a beer. It's like, whatever, hey. So just to throw it out there, in the beginning, we didn't really have a choice. We didn't have like high-end clients. We just took what we got. Yep. So that's what we got. We got a lady drinking at 9 o'clock in the morning. And so we get there, she's drinking, having a good time. She offered us both beers. Hey, we declined, just want to put that on the record. So we declined. We had fun. We were doing the move. We get into her master bedroom. We're wrapping up furniture. We realize her dresser had stuff in it. We open the drawer. There's a bong. I said, "Hey, man, we got a bong in here." She's like, "You guys want to hit it?" We're like, "No." But we had to pull out the bong. The thing was, we never checked the other drawers. So we continue on with the move. We wrap up the dresser. We got all the stuff out of the house. We're at the new house, which is a mobile home. Not that it has too much significance, but I'll tell you why I said that. So we're getting the truck unloaded, and we get to that same dresser, and I go to pop it up on a dolly. I remember Mark was standing right there. I was standing right there. I pulled the dresser, pop, and I hear it. I look at Mark. He knew exactly. It took me a second. I was like, oh, something turned on in this dresser.
Uh-oh.
So we wiggle it around, and it stops. It's quiet. We're like, all right, we're good.
Oh, no.
So we get it in the house. This is a true story. God, I hope she never hears this. She won't. So we get it in the house. Keep in mind, it's a trailer, so we had to get it up those first few steps, boop, 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 with the dolly, right? So that off button, that on-off button, it went back on.
Oh my gosh.
But we're going through the house with it. We're like locked in. I'm looking at Mark, he's looking at me. We're like, we know what's going on. The customer is right there. We're gonna act like we don't know anything. We come through the house and she stops and she's like, "Oh my gosh." She's like, "I haven't had a dog in years. He passed away, but gosh, look at all that dog hair on the bottom of that dresser." I'm not kidding. I'm so serious right now. She's like, "Let me get that off before you go and place it in the room." So we're both standing there, and she comes over. By the way, it's on. And she's cleaning it off. I'm just looking at Mark in his eyes, just like, all right, let's get this done. And finally, we get in the room, and I remember I set it right in the door so Mark couldn't get out of the room, and just walked away. He was stuck in there with it.
They love
That's one of my favorite stories to tell, which I probably have never told on a podcast or in public, but here we go.
That's awesome.
It's out there now.
Heck yeah. Well, Blake, thank you so much. When you guys are out there and ready to level up your style game, come on down to Tweeds. That's going to do it for today. Stay tuned for a quick sneak peek of the full episode coming up with Blake.
Love what you guys do, particularly because you're not like the big companies who come in here, the carpetbaggers, if you will, from other places.
Carpetbaggers?
It's a political term.
Never heard of it.
It's when somebody's from another area and they move to an area just to run for office. Okay. It's a carpetbagger. It's an old term.
Carpets.
Yeah. I guess there's probably an interesting origin that may or may not be related to moving there too. So
I got to figure it out.
Yeah.
Sounds like it has some innuendos in it.
I'm sure it does.
I like it even more.
It's definitely a pejorative term. So. But in any case, you guys are not that. You're homegrown. You're from right here in Sarasota, Manatee area.
Nope.
You told us how you started the company, how you grew more than you thought you'd grow. But now, because of that, and you're homegrown, you do things a little bit differently. You talked a little bit about it. Let's talk more about what that actually means for what you do for these nonprofits. Maybe if you could give us some examples.
Just in general, the community, nonprofits being a part of the community. But no matter what it is, if there's anything that's helping the community, I want to be a part of it. And you might hear of we were talking about one. Say Love Freedom, a big organization. A lot of people know about it. They help with sex trafficking, getting women off the streets, giving them a place to stay. Just an amazing organization. It's also a very well-known organization. Well, here's a fun fact. They called my company, didn't tell me, didn't call me, God forbid. They called the company, got a quote, and it was $6,800. Big move. Matter of fact, it was actually this building right here. It's in this building. Say Love Freedom was in this building. But no longer anymore. But anyways, $6,800. And I found out about the moving quote, and I looked at it, and so I called some people and said, hey, listen, I love you guys. I want to give back. So you guys haven't booked the move. I don't know why, whatever. Let me come out and take a look. I looked at the move. I said, okay, this move is going to cost me, give or take, $2,000 is what I was looking at. I said, I tell you what, let's call it $1,600. That'll cover my costs for sure. And if I pay a few more bucks, so be it. That's kind of what I like to do for the community and nonprofits. And it's either at cost or free. In this case, it was at cost. So we set the move up. I was excited about it. Big part of the moving for them. And, I didn't it's such a good organization. I want to be able to say that I moved Say Love Freedom for free. So I was sitting with their business development. This is my strategies that I play. And this is something that I love. Maybe I shouldn't put this on podcast, but I'm going to put it out there because I love this. So I was sitting with the business development and I was chatting with her. I said, I love the fact of what we're doing for you guys. I know you guys appreciate it, but it's one thing to be able to say I did the move at cost, but it's another thing to say I did the move for free, pro bono, full all the way. And so I was talking to her. I said, what can I do? What do we got to do? Like, can I get some value back to justify this? And she's like, oh, I'll do this, I'll do that. And I said, you know what? It's done. Let's do it. But here's the kick. This is the part where I get strategy involved. I said, hey, listen. Here's what I want to do. I'm going to give you the move for free, but I want you to be the one that made it happen. I want you to go back to your office and say, hey, I talked to Blake and we got the move for free. You know why I did that? I made her the hero. You make other people the hero of their own stories and you win all the time.